Hello, a very warm welcome to this channel. Welcome to anyone who's new. This channel is all about Jesus without Christianity. Kind of like the early Christians, like when there wasn't sort of an organized structure around this fascinating being, this phenomenon called Jesus, who went about and did certain things and taught certain things and then theoretically, it's my experience and many other people's experience, is still available to help, though he no longer walks among us in a body. So that's very briefly what this channel is all about. And today I want to talk a little bit about the idea of experiencing the presence of God. So first I'm going to read a comment I got. Someone wrote, "My core resonates with your statement about your bottom line God view. My bottom line God view is that God is all good and only good, that all things serve the good, and that the good is inevitable, or a happy outcome to all things is sure, based on my both intellectual understanding of God as all good, infinite goodness, pure goodness, and also my heartfelt sense based on my experience, which we're going to hopefully have a little bit of a spiritual experience today." Actually, before we go any further, let's just take a moment. Tune in, invite in, notice the presence of God, Spirit, Him in whom we live and move and have our being. It's quite a sentence. So, on to this comment. My core resonates with your statements about your bottom line God view. Same here. This raised the thought that the only reason for such a dark God view as the eternal hellmaker is that it would be such a level of contrast to the presence of God, or to its intuition as the faintest memory of our true origin, source, and home, that this falsehood would stick into our soul like a thorn and poke at us until we dug it out and opened the door to God's true nature and began a deeper journey into remembering and wholeness. From this new vantage point, we can then recognize that our fear-based God images were always forms of unconscious resistance to true, divine, eternal, and unconditional love. From that point, we can enter into a more conscious process of relinquishing all forms of resistance to divine love's reality and presence. The truth is, I have parts of me that still get confused by these old God images. And then my soul calls for a baptism in the healing waters of truth. Only infinite love, intelligence, and wisdom can be trusted. Wow, any idea that expresses less than that is an insult and assault to our soul. Thank you so very much for that comment. Wow, person who wrote it, you're quite the poet and wordsmith. Really appreciating that. So, normally when I get comments, I kind of respond or share my 2 cents, but I think instead, let's open ourselves up to the experience of the presence of God. Now, you may not agree with every word this person wrote, but the overall theme of this so beautifully expressed. Only infinite love, intelligence, and wisdom can be trusted. It's so easy to get fixated on an idea and to then try and connect to God through that idea, as opposed to just opening to infinite love, intelligence, and wisdom. This beautiful phrase this person used, old God images. And of course, there's also old God approaches. We have all these ideas about how to approach God. So right here, right now, I just want to invite people to open up to the presence, to maybe try on a new idea of a never-ending, and I don't mean to offer this as something literal, but just as a poem to move us along in the right direction. What if God is like a never-ending waterfall of love pouring down on us? How does that image, that poem, how does that land for you? Does it awaken something within you? Over here, I'm sure having a special spiritual experience, feeling this delicious presence that's hard to put into words. Just like this person, I think all of us have parts of us that still get confused by these old God images and old teachings about the path, about religion. And our soul does call for a baptism in the healing waters of truth, the healing waters of love. Let's open to that now. You can say a little prayer. Jesus, Christ, Father, please bathe me, heal me, touch me, uplift me with your healing waters, your stream of life, your stream of love, your spirit. So this would be what I'm doing right now, I think of as Christian meditation. Meditating on Christ, meditating on the presence of God, meditating on God is love, God is goodness, and then also feeling, sensing. All of us, I don't want to say all of us, but almost every human being has had a special feeling. Sometimes in church, sometimes in nature, sometimes maybe through doing art, that they can't quite put their finger on. A feeling of goodness, wholeness, purity and love, peace, joy, sometimes rapture, sometimes ecstasy. Numinous. It's a beautiful word. I'll look up the definition in a moment. Something sacred, as if we feel touched by something non-material. So solid that we can feel it, yet so subtle. Not necessarily so quiet and so gentle, yet so palpable. Found in the stillness, the quiet. Inexpressible, yet so real. And I want to put forth the idea so necessary that we're designed to be in connection, in communion with the divine. So I really appreciate the comment and appreciate people taking the time to practice. I don't know that that's the exact right word. Numinous. It's a term derived from the Latin numen, meaning arousing spiritual or religious emotion, mysterious or awe-inspiring. What a cool word. Numinous. Presence with a capital P. I put the word practice in quotes because so much of mysticism, and there's many different words for what mysticism means. I mean it from more the scholarly definition of the act or action of seeking connection or communion with the divine, really seeking union with the divine. Connection, communion, union. Because for me, there's this quality of noticing something that's already there. So yes, it does take a kind of effort, a kind of work. Mhm. And it's kind of like savoring food. It's more just a shift in attention. Most people, and I've sadly fallen into this habit, we don't really taste and savor our food, right? We're eating and thinking, or we're eating and scrolling Facebook, or eating and doing something else. But to really savor your food, it does take a little effort. But the enjoyment's there, the tastes are there, just have to notice. I think I don't even want to say Christian meditation, Christ-centered, God-centered meditation. There is a little bit of effort required, but part of it is just a redirecting of attention. Bruno Bruning, who I've mentioned before in this channel, he used a German word, Einstellen. Many meanings, Einstellen, but one of them is really cool. It's the word that you would use to describe adjusting the dial on a radio to tune in to a certain station or frequency. So I started off with this metaphor or this poem. Let's call it a poem. I prefer that. Theology would go so much better if we just thought of them as poems that were meant to open us to something, as opposed to a literal. But regardless, that's maybe another video. But this poem of God as a waterfall of love forever flowing down upon us. Let's say that poem is more true than not. Then where's the love? Have we been looking for love in all the wrong places? What's love got to do with it? So if that poem is more true than untrue, then that means that's going on right now. And, I don't care if you're a Muslim or a Jew, follow the Jewish faith, or a Hindu, or a Christian, or an atheist. What if the supreme reality is pouring down its love upon everyone and everything right now? Whether you call it Allah, Buddha nature, Christ, God. What if it's showering us and it's just our job to receive the gift? And I mention that because it's so easy to get fixated on labels. And I do it and everybody does it. We all do it. But we're talking about a reality. We're talking about infinity, infinite love, unconditional love, limitless love. We're talking about the sun that shines on everyone and everything. So in the presence of something like that, all words fall short. So it's been a while, but on this channel I talked about my friend Matt Spinks and his ministry about getting drunk on God's love, and it's kind of what I'm feeling right now. Feeling a little toasty, a little happy for no reason. I'd like to thank everyone for joining in. I wish some of that for you, some of that good, holy juju, that Holy Spirit magic, the true magic, the taking in of the love of Source. Big love. Thanks for dropping by. Take care.